The final whistle had blown. The dream was over. On the pitch at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, Lionel Messi stood motionless, his eyes fixed on a distant point that only he could see. The confetti was falling, but it wasn't for him. The celebrations were beginning, but they belonged to Spain. For the greatest player in the history of the sport, this was supposed to be the crowning moment, the final chapter in a story that had already been written in the stars. Instead, it was a nightmare. As his teammates collapsed around him, as the Spanish players embraced in joy, Messi did something that would haunt the world for days to come. He cried, and then he walked off the pitch without saying a single word to anyone. The silence was deafening. The world wanted answers. And when his coach finally spoke, what he revealed left everyone stunned. Not just about Messi's future, but about his own. What Lionel Scaloni said in that press conference would send shockwaves through Argentina and the entire football world. This is the story of the 2026 World Cup final, the fall of a dynasty, and the revelation that changed everything. To understand the magnitude of what happened in that final, you have to go back to the beginning. The Argentina team that walked onto the pitch in New Jersey was not just any team. They were the defending world champions. They were the kings of football. And they had Lionel Messi, the greatest player to ever grace the sport, at the heart of everything they did. Just 4 years earlier, Messi had finally achieved what had eluded him for so long. At the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, he had lifted the trophy that completed his legacy, the one trophy that had always been missing from his glittering career. It was the moment that silenced the critics, that cemented his place alongside Diego Maradona, that made him a god in his homeland. But Messi didn't stop there. Under the guidance of Lionel Scaloni, a coach who had been appointed as an interim replacement and had turned out to be one of the greatest managers in Argentine history, the team had continued to dominate. They won the Copa America in 2021 and again in 2024. They won the Finalissima against Italy. They had gone on an incredible 16-match unbeaten run in World Cup matches stretching back to 2022. They were not just champions, they were a dynasty, a team that had conquered everything in front of them. And they had done it all with Messi leading the way, scoring 125 goals for his country, playing in 6 World Cups, becoming the first player in history to appear in 3 World Cup finals. The 2026 World Cup had been a testament to their resilience. They had battled through injuries, fought back from difficult positions, and shown the grit and determination that had become their trademark. They had come from behind in several matches, scoring 12 goals in the final 15 minutes of games or extra time, a tournament record. They had reached the final, back-to-back, and they were 1 game away from becoming the first team since Brazil in 1962 to retain the World Cup. But standing in their way was Spain, a team that had been just as impressive, a team that had conceded just 1 goal in the entire tournament, a team that had beaten Argentina in the group stage of the 2022 World Cup. This was not going to be easy, and for the Albiceleste, it would turn out to be the end of an era. The match itself was a story of missed opportunities, of physical and mental exhaustion, and of a Spanish team that executed their game plan to perfection. From the very first whistle, Spain dominated possession. They strangled the life out of the Argentine midfield, cutting off the supply lines to Messi and forcing the 39-year-old to drop deeper and deeper to try and get on the ball. By the end of the match, Messi had been held to just 54 touches, his fewest for a full match at a World Cup. He didn't register his first shot until the 117th minute. The Spanish coach, Luis de la Fuente, had a simple but devastating strategy. My first idea was to keep Messi at bay. It worked. The Argentine players, already exhausted from a grueling tournament, struggled to break down a disciplined Spanish defense. They had been forced to replace 3 of their 4 defenders due to injuries, and the physical toll was evident. Then came the turning point. In the 106th minute of extra time, Ferran Torres scored the goal that would break Argentine hearts. A move involving Lamine Yamal, Pedro Porro, and Nico Williams ended with Torres beating Emiliano Martinez with a powerful finish. It was the only goal of the match, and it was enough to give Spain their 2nd World Cup title. The Argentine players had no response. They had given everything, but it wasn't enough. To make matters worse, Enzo Fernandez was sent off in added time at the end of the second half, a final indignity for a team that had fought until the very end. The final whistle sparked ugly scenes. Argentine players, frustrated by the defeat, were involved in heated confrontations with Spanish players. Nahuel Molina appeared to swing a punch towards Rodri. Leandro Paredes was seen shoving Eric Garcia by the throat. "It's a disgrace," said Gary Neville on ITV. "There's a way to lose," added Alan Shearer. "Too many times we have seen that from Argentina." But amidst the chaos, one image stood out. Lionel Messi, standing in the middle of the pitch, his face a picture of desolation. He stared into the stands, looking at the Argentine fans who had traveled from across the world to support him. And then he cried. It was a moment of raw, unfiltered emotion, a reminder that even the greatest players are human. He had dreamed of lifting the World Cup for a second time. He had fought for 120 minutes. He had given everything he had, and it still wasn't enough. As the Spanish players celebrated around him, Messi walked off the pitch without speaking to anyone. The silence was deafening. The world wanted answers. The press conference that followed the final was supposed to be a routine affair. A defeated manager offering his thoughts on the game, paying tribute to his players, and looking ahead to the future. But Lionel Scaloni had other plans. What he said, and how he said it, would leave the football world in shock. As Scaloni began to speak, it was clear that he was struggling to hold back his emotions. He spoke about the match, about the injuries that had plagued his squad, about the enormous wear and tear that his players had endured. "We had injuries in key positions that we weren't expecting. The wear and tear has been enormous. They gave their last effort," he said. He admitted that Spain were the better side, offering a gracious acknowledgement of the opponent. "They were the better side, that's the truth," he said. He spoke about his players, calling them warriors and praising their commitment. "I'm proud of how they've competed. We had to make many changes due to several obstacles that arose before us. It hurts our souls that we couldn't bring home the cup. This coach is satisfied with his players." But then, the tone shifted. When asked about the future, Scaloni's composure began to crack. He spoke about his contract, which runs until December 2026, and about his need to reset and to rebuild. And then, the words that sent shockwaves through the football world. "I'm going to talk to the president of the AFA, Claudio Tapia. I have an idea of what I'd like to do. I'll see out my contract, and then we'll see." He was hinting at leaving. He was suggesting that the end was near. But the most shocking moment was still to come. As Scaloni continued, his voice began to falter. He rubbed his eyes. He thumped the table. And then, he broke down into tears. He struggled to continue, his words coming out in fragments. "I don't know if something as big can be done. We need to speak this through. This place is wonderful. Wonderful. It's a dream position." And then, the words that would haunt Argentina for days to come. "I don't know if I can continue." He was apologizing to the nation, unable to finish his sentences through the tears. In order to continue, you need a great deal of things, especially resetting your mind, rebooting, creating a group like this again. That is very difficult to create again. It hurts me. It hurts me deeply. With that, he stood up and walked away, unable to continue. His press conference, had ended in tears. The world was left asking the same question. What had just happened? The tears, the emotion, the uncertainty, all of it pointed to one thing. Lionel Scaloni was preparing to step down. His comments after the match made it clear that he was questioning his own future and that the defeat had taken a profound personal toll on him. "I'll stay through December, and after that I'll probably step away," he reportedly said. The revelation was shocking because Scaloni had been the architect of Argentina's success. He had taken over as interim coach in 2018. A virtually unknown figure who had been appointed to steady the ship, and he had turned out to be one of the greatest managers in Argentine history. Under his leadership, Argentina had won the World Cup, 2 Copas America, and had established themselves as the dominant force in South American football. To lose him would be a devastating blow. The timing of his potential departure was what made it so shocking. Just days earlier, it had been reported that Scaloni had agreed to a contract extension through 2030. The expectation was that he would continue to lead the team for years to come. Instead, he was hinting at leaving. He was saying that the challenges of building a new team, of recreating the magic that had defined the last few years, were too much to bear. "I don't know if it's possible to achieve something greater than this," he had said. It was a stark admission that the peak of this golden generation had passed. But the revelation didn't just extend to his own future. Scaloni also addressed the other elephant in the room, Lionel Messi. When asked if the 39-year-old would retire from international football, Scaloni revealed that he hadn't spoken to the captain. Truth be told, I didn't speak to Leo, he told reporters. But his words about Messi's legacy were clear and profound. He's 39 years old now. Unbelievable. There's nothing new to discover from my side. It was crystal clear for me that he's going to play up until he decides to do so. He called Messi the best football player to ever step foot on a pitch. He was confirming that the decision was entirely Messi's. But the tears that Messi had shed on the pitch and the silence that had followed his walk-off told a different story. This time, it felt final. In the days that followed, both Messi and Scaloni continued to speak out about the defeat, revealing the depth of the pain that they were feeling. Messi, who had been silent immediately after the match, took to social media to share his emotions. "The pain is immense, and it's going to take a long time for this wound to heal," he wrote. "But I'll also hold on to all the good memories, the support of an entire country which, together with the hard work and effort of this squad, led us to be, once again, amongst the best in the world." His words were a testament to his character, a reminder that even in defeat, he could see the bigger picture. Messi also congratulated Spain, showing a grace that had not always been present in his earlier years. "I also congratulate Spain on winning the World Cup," he said, and he praised his own team, emphasizing the significance of what they had achieved. "Perhaps people don't fully grasp the significance of what we've done today, but this team has reached 2 consecutive World Cup finals. That's an incredibly special achievement." He was taking pride in the journey, even as he mourned the result. For Messi, this was a moment of reflection, a time to think about his future and the legacy he had built. Scaloni, for his part, was also grappling with the pain of the defeat and the uncertainty of the future. He spoke about the support of the fans and the welcome the team received upon returning home. "We saw the fans happy. Even the children celebrated as if we were champions," he said. "It was a humbling experience, a reminder that for the Argentine people, the team was about more than just winning. It was about identity, about pride, about a shared love for the country." Scaloni's emotional breakdown had been seen by millions, and it had resonated with people around the world. It was a human moment, a reminder that even the most successful people experience pain, and it was a sign that Scaloni, like his team, was at a crossroads. As Argentina returned home to a tumultuous welcome, the realization dawned that this was likely the end of an era. Messi, at 39, was on the verge of retirement. Scaloni, his coach and the architect of their success, was hinting at leaving. And a new generation of players, led by Spain's Lamine Yamal, was rising to take their place. The images of Messi crying on the pitch and of Scaloni breaking down in his press conference were a powerful reminder that all dynasties must eventually come to an end. The Argentine Football Association, led by President Claudio Tapia, paid tribute to Messi, thanking him for everything he had given to the country. "There are no words in the dictionary that can be enough to thank you for everything you gave us, Captain," Tapia wrote on Instagram. It was a recognition that Messi had done more than just win trophies. He had united a nation and inspired a generation. The Argentine Football Federation had also honored him, posting a video of his greatest moments, a highlight reel that was as much a tribute as it was a farewell. But the future of Argentine football was now uncertain. Who would replace Scaloni? Who would lead the team through the 2028 Copa America and the 2030 World Cup, which Argentina will co-host alongside Uruguay, Paraguay, and Chile? The names of potential successors were already being thrown around. Pablo Aimar, Scaloni's longtime assistant, Diego Placeni, the Argentina under-20 coach, and more experienced managers like Mauricio Pochettino, Marcelo Gallardo, and Diego Simeone. The transition would be challenging, and the loss of both Messi and Scaloni would be a massive blow to the team and the country. But in the end, what will be remembered is not the defeat or the tears, but the greatness of the men who had brought Argentina to the pinnacle of the sport. Messi's legacy is secure. He is the greatest player to ever step onto a football field, a player who has broken records, won titles, and captured the hearts of millions. Scaloni's legacy is equally impressive. He took a team in crisis and turned them into world champions, and he did it with humility, grace, and a deep love for his country. The 2026 World Cup final was a devastating defeat, but it was not the end of the story. Messi, in his message to the fans, reminded everyone of the importance of pride and unity. Once again, we managed to come together as a country and stand united, he said, sharing the immense pride of being Argentine. Scaloni, despite his tears, echoed the same sentiment. I want to thank the fans, my players, and the country, and tell them that we gave everything, he said. That is the legacy that will endure, the legacy of a team that gave everything for their country and inspired millions along the way. As the dust settles on the 2026 World Cup, the question remains, has the world seen the last of Messi and Scaloni? Will the two men who defined an era for Argentina return for one final campaign? Or will they walk away, leaving the stage to a new generation? The answers are still unclear. But one thing is certain. The legacy of Lionel Messi and Lionel Scaloni is not defined by the defeat in the final, but by the joy they brought to millions, by the pride they instilled in their nation, and by the greatness they achieved. And that is a legacy that will never fade.